I've had a really great time for all the backgrounds I've played for. Had the good fortune of doing the background of Brahmastra with Tawfiq sir. That is one of the longest session also, and a great learning curve. I think we recorded drums and percussion for like 10 to 12 days. And this 10 to 12 days not like over a like not at a stretch. This happened in different parts over 6 months. The amount of brainstorming that has gone behind because it went on for 6 months to firstly what sounds and what instruments and theme for each character, what sound will work the best and all of that. So there's a lot of learning that goes when you do a background score.
Offspin Media Friends proudly presents A Day in Your Life by Anant Krishnan, an Offspin original.
Hi, my name is Anant, and welcome to the fourth episode of this podcast where conversations are all about you, a day in your life. Today, I get to speak with Khwab Haria, a seasoned drummer and a percussionist. Now, let's get this conversation started and get to know more about him. Hi, Khwab. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, man.
Could you tell me a little about yourself?
Well, so myself, Khwab Haria, I belong to a Gujarati family. I stay in Mumbai. Been born and brought up in Mumbai only,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a professional musician, drummer, percussionist for more than 15 years now, and a student for life.
Wow, that's a very interesting way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, see, these things you can never fully learn. You keep learning, 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 and learn, and that's how you finish.
Correct. Khwab, if you don't mind, could you tell us who all do you play or tour with?
So over the years, I have been playing with, and or maybe you can say I have played with a lot of Bollywood singers and music directors, and a lot of other instrumentalists in fusion instrumental setup also.
Okay.
For live setups, currently I'm playing with Sunidhi Chauhan, Monali Thakur, this guy, so the music producer of mixtape, Abhijit Wagani,
Mm-hmm.
and I play some fusion setups like Samarpan and Vivek Rajgopalan. I'm also playing with Shore Police, Clinton Sero, and Bianca.
Wow, I'm a big fan of them.
They're incredible musicians and really very nice human beings also. So great working with them.
Amazing. So, what is your day like usually from the time you wake up and until the day ends?
See, to be very honest, it's nothing like a fixed schedule. Like when I'm in Mumbai and not gigging or not recording, then yeah, maybe wake up around 8:39. Yeah, your daily routine. And then I have my studio music room in Mulund only. I go to the studio, say 10:30, 11ish, and then practice till probably lunchtime, come home for lunch quickly, and then go back to the studio again. Also, I teach, so there are some online or offline lessons also, like in-person lessons also I take during the week and the weekend also. And of course, when I'm gigging or when I'm in the studio, there's no schedule, man. So you know how it is.
Hmm.
There's no like finish time when you're in the studio, especially.
Correct.
And when you're gigging, of course, a lot of things, travel, going to the sound check, coming back probably to wherever you're staying in the hotel or change again, go to the show, stuff like that.
Yeah, gigging and especially touring, I think would surely stress you out.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's how it is, and that's what you've chosen. So, yeah, and it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Who gets to travel and play what you like?
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's an absolute blessing.
Exactly. So, how long have you been playing drums?
To be very honest, I've been learning since I was seven to some more than 22 years now. I've been learning drums. Professionally, I started playing after my 10th.
Okay,
Oh, still, I've been, playing for like 12, 15 years.
amazing. Did drumming always interest you, or did you try any other instruments as well?
I started learning keyboards actually. So keyboard is ideally my first instrument. I started learning it when I was in second standard.
Okay,
But eventually, for a year and a half, I think 2 years, I learned the keyboards. And then I started learning the drums.
okay.
Keyboard was also good. It was going good. Not that I didn't like the instrument,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow the teacher who used to come home to teach me couldn't come after that. And then my father found out there's drum classes just in my building where I used to stay earlier. So I started learning the drums.
Okay.
And yeah, so from then onwards, it's been drums and percussions.
Interesting.
Although I've learned keyboards again much later, but just for the heck of it, just for knowing certain things. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's because of the support of my family, my father especially, that interest also developed because of him, and then eventually I could continue doing.
Yeah. Very thankful to your dad.
Absolutely. So basically, yeah, he pushed me to do it. And then, get deeper into it. He used to research about different teachers, about what are the opportunities, how does it work, and stuff like that initially.
Hmm.
So that's how it, and the interest developed. I started learning like advanced stuff and stuff like
If I could ask, who are your musical influences? Anyone in particular who inspires you a lot?
that. I mean, there's tons of them actually.
Uh huh.
But as a kid, when I didn't know anything, like not about too many drummers or percussionists or musicians in general, A.R. Rahman was is one of the first musical influences, and I think all of us have grown up to his music.
Yeah.
So yeah, him, and then obviously as you grow up, as you learn a particular instrument, you get to know about individuals playing that instrument.
Hmm.
So then, as a kid, again, Sivamani has always been a face of drums in India.
Hmm.
So him, and then eventually Ustad Tawfiq Qureshi, and I'm really lucky and blessed to be eventually, learning from him. When you learn more, you get to know about Ranjit Barot, you get to know about Gino Banks. I have also been fortunate to be learning from them as well. So all of these guys, and then international drummers like Vinny Kaluta, Dave Weckl, Virgil Donati, all these guys, and of course Ustad Zakir Hussain and Trilo Kutu. And I mean, the list is endless to be very honest, Anand.
Yeah.
All of these guys, play a really important role in who am I or who I would want to become one day. And I really look up to them always, not only as the musicians, but as as human beings in general.
Yeah. They are legends in their own way.
Yeah.
How do you go about prepping for a concert? Could you explain your process, please?
See, there are a couple of ways to look at it. If I'm playing with an artist on a regular basis, then it's the kind of prep is different, the amount of time is less because then it's the regular set you've been playing. So there are certain things here and there which you add every concert or every once in a while.
Yeah.
But say for example, if I have to start playing with a newer artist, or if I could just got a call for like one-off gig,
Right.
and then eventually if that has to be my regular gig, then yes, I mean I get the list of songs to be played.
Mm-hmm.
uh, if they have a live recording of it, then great. Else if they're doing looking at the original arrangements, then listening to the original music.
Yeah.
And making charts is the first thing I do,
Okay.
because then memorizing, say for example, if you're playing five different artists,
Hmm.
so memorizing five different arrangements
Correct.
is a task. So the first thing I do is, and that's how, I mean, see, it's different for different musicians.
Yeah. That's how you work.
Different drummers would do it differently.
Yeah.
But I have found that this is what is working for me.
Correct.
So I really make charts of all these songs. See, this is again, if I'm playing a pop music or a Bollywood session,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm playing a fusion gig, then obviously I don't make charts because the whole idea of playing a fusion or a jazz gig is improvisation.
Correct.
So then the original, I mean the head or the main theme of the main melody, and
Yeah.
then obviously there's a lot of improvisation happening. So there it works really differently. Then
Yeah.
practicing or understanding the head, and then how would you interpret that?
Correct.
Ways around it. So then sitting on the kit and playing them over and over again
Yeah.
works for me. If I'm playing like a pop gig, yes, firstly, listening to the music, making charts, and then just, playing it. And then what happens is eventually once you start playing gig,
Mm-hmm.
the first gig might be a little, not on the loose end, but you'll try to keep it to the point, straighter, simpler. But then 5 gigs, 7 gigs down the line, you'll start, making some changes, some little fill changes, some little groove changes here and there as you get comfortable with the set.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean that's how it works. And obviously, before all of this, your basic practice is the first thing, no? That is common for whatever you are playing, any gig you're playing. Your basic rudiments that keep you in shape is a must, like a everyday thing.
Right. Interesting, Khwab.
Thanks, man.
What has been your most favorite performance or a tour so far?
Very difficult to answer that, Anand, because every gig, every tour, every performance is it's special.
Hmm.
It's equally, there's a certain amount of pressure for every kind of gig, every gig, but it's at the same time that fun and excitement is always there. There are very few gigs which you would say, okay, no, this was not the gig I would want to play, or oh shit, this is the bad gig I don't want to remember. There are very few of them, but otherwise, all the gigs are special.
Man, that must be so exciting.
I've had a great time playing Sunidhi Chauhan's gig though. But in general, every gig is as special, to be very honest. I mean, if you ask me, this versus this, playing fusion music is my thing. So, I mean, I would always, that has that extra, plus one from me always. Yeah,
I mean, it could bring out the best in the artist, you know. You get to perform and improvise and, so many other things that you could do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I really have a little edge of that, playing a fusion gig over a commercial pop gig.
Interesting. What has been your best recording so far?
Again, a lot of them, to be very honest, all of them only. But then, I've had a really great time for all the backgrounds I've played for. I've really had a great time because, there are a lot of things you learn when you record drums and percussion for a background score.
Hmm.
The song is a song. It just gets done when you have the groove right, some certain fills right in place.
Correct.
But when you're doing a score, you match your rhythms to the scene. There's different time signatures because obviously every scene is going to be like different tempo, different time signature, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then this whole soundscaping, the whole idea of soundscaping behind, say for example, if it's an action sequence or if it's a dance sequence,
Hmm.
there's a lot that goes under doing a like a background. I mean, that's what I feel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, doing songs is also fun. Recently, I had the good fortune of doing the background of Brahmastra with Tawfiq sir.
Amazing.
That was, that is one of the longest session also, and a great learning curve. I think we recorded drums and percussion for like 10 to 12 days,
Wow.
and this is just drums and percussions. I mean, apart from all the other, strings or Indian instruments and stuff like that, just drums and percussion. So
Was this sequence used all over Brahmastra or was this used for a particular scene?
no, no, this is for the full movie.
Okay.
As in Tawfiq sir and all of us students did the whole film. And this 10 to 12 days not like over a like not at a stretch. This happened in different parts over 6 months.
Oh, interesting.
The amount of brainstorming that has gone behind because it went on for 6 months to firstly what sounds
Yeah.
and what instruments and theme for each character, what sound will work the best and all of that. So there's a lot of learning that goes when you do a background score.
Right.
We did the background score of ABCD, both one and two.
Uh-huh.
That was also one hell of a recording. So basically, all the backgrounds, it has been special only. And a lot of songs like the songs of ABCD, songs of Doom, all of those very interesting. And especially when you're working with Tawfiq sir,
Hmm.
he thinks obviously with the kind of experience and with the kind of musician he is, his thought process is completely different, and you get to learn a lot of things there.
Hmm. Sorry, Khwab, what is ABCD?
ABCD is Anybody Can Dance. There've been three
Ah,
parts of
okay.
that movie.
Correct.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So see again,
Interesting.
Brahmastra again is a sci-fi action fantasy film,
Hmm.
while ABCD was a out and out dance film. But then also when you're doing like a song, it's different, and when you're doing like a dance sequence,
Hmm.
and that is only based on your rhythms, it's very different. So again, like heavy, a lot of layers of different instruments, heavy layering and phrasing primarily, a lot of different phrasing you come across when you do these things.
Wow, man, amazing. Yeah, I'd seen some of the posts that you had put out for Brahmastra on social media. Amazing.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it has been it's been one of the most interesting sessions in terms of firstly its length, and then it was the first time I was a part of a full movie. So from the very start of what sounds the final end product, I was there. So it's really special that
Wow, nice.
from the screening part of it, I would say.
Yeah,
You see the film, no, much before you start playing also.
right, right. I get it. Reels.
So yeah.
How do you deal with creative blocks or performance anxiety?
Well, to be very honest, even I am finding an answer to that. With me, there's no concrete way of doing it.
Hmm.
See, for the pressure, it's some amount of pressure is always going to be there before every gig.
Yeah,
And it's good to have a little pressure.
correct.
Not too much of pressure, but it's good to have a little bit of pressure every time.
Yeah.
That keeps you in place. In terms of, creative block, if say for example, if I'm stuck in a certain phrase for a really long time, I'm trying hard, but it's not coming through.
Hmm.
I'll take a break from that. Or maybe I'll take a break from drums only for entire day and then fresh start the next day. And most of the times it happens that because you tried too hard, you couldn't do it that day. Next day it comes out, easily. Most of the time, not every time, but yeah, most of.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it works for me too.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes it also works that I go for a walk and, come back.
Correct, correct, correct. You stop, you take a break from your routine. Go have a cup of coffee, go have a cup of tea, just
Yeah.
meet your friends, or go for a walk with your wife and stuff like that.
How do you keep up on music practice when you're constantly busy on tour? Does that ever affect you?
Again, that's a constant battle, a touring musician or a performing musician fights with himself always. But
Yeah.
not that I have found a way to it. I'm still trying to, but when you're not gigging,
Hmm.
make up for the practice is one of the ways.
Yeah.
And also when you're gigging, you'll have to find some time somehow do your basics, maybe probably in a hotel room or if you're in a session.
Hmm.
In India, the sessions really go for long, and sometimes you're not playing. Sometimes you're just sitting while the music director or the producer are, looking at certain things or approving certain things or deciding on certain.
Yeah.
That's the time. Either you take interest in what's happening there, or you're in the recording room doing nothing, practice.
Hmm.
Also, what I believe is when you're playing back to back, you're still practicing on stage, right?
Correct.
So that obviously is there, but yeah, man, it's hard to find that balance, but it is also important to find that balance
Correct.
between your actual performance and actual riyaz
Yeah.
practice, meaning that riyaz,
Yeah.
where you're not practicing for gigs, you're doing your practice for your instrument for yourself. Again, see, not that to, I will be very honest, not that I have found the correct way and I am able to, do justice to my practice when I'm gigging.
Hmm.
But see, if you want to, you'll always find some time.
All right. This is a little tricky question. How do you deal with politics of the industry?
Hmm. Okay, it's been quite some years now for me in the working circuit. I've been firstly mostly fortunate enough to not have to deal with politics per se.
Hmm.
Yes, sometimes not that I've never been through it, but yeah, sometimes when it gets really tricky, you just get out of it. Is what I do. Maybe I'll not get into that circuit. I'll not play in that circle.
Hmm.
And again, as I said, it's been very, few times I've had to deal with certain, like, politics. And then see, eventually you are a working musician, you're working in the same industry.
Hmm.
Now or later, you're still going to bump into, the same individuals.
Right.
So there's no point, keeping any kind of hard feelings or anything of that sort. If you don't like a certain person or a certain vibe of a certain band,
Hmm.
you don't do it. And then if they want you, they'll make it happen somehow, or you just get out of it. Simple.
Right. Best and a clean way of staying out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You see, because as I said, I'm not that person also to keep, grudges, because you have to work in the same industry eventually.
Correct.
So then, how are you going to do that?
Right.
If you like something and if they like you, do it. If it doesn't work, you still say hello to them when you meet. Simple.
Interesting. What is the worst and the best piece of advice someone gave you when you were starting out as a musician?
See, worst piece of advice, I wouldn't say worst piece of advice, but there's been a lot of questions, when you start out. And plus, coming from like a, Gujarati background and doing music professionally, there are a lot of funny questions that you come across.
Yeah.
Never been like a worst piece of advice, but questions like how much will you earn, or when will you see? When will we see you on TV? These guys are we always see these guys on TV. Why are you not on TV and stuff like that? But yeah, man. So yeah, sometimes छोड़ दे इसमें कुछ नहीं होगा. Don't do it. Stuff like that.
Hmm.
Again, best piece of advice, a lot, but one really important thing as a drummer and percussionist, I was told ever since I started learning, some years into learning,
Hmm.
the actual words were you should learn the tabla because it helps you play a lot of different rhythm instruments.
Hmm.
But now, after years playing drums and percussion,
Hmm.
I figured what it meant then was yes, not learning the tabla as an instrument, but taking that knowledge on, and for that matter, not just tabla, any Indian classical rhythm instrument,
Hmm.
may it be tabla, pakhavaj, or may it be any Carnatic instrument like mridangam, ghatam,
Yeah.
not learning the instrument, but taking that knowledge, learning the system, learning the
Hmm.
mathematics. It takes your playing, it takes your thinking, it opens your vision uh, to the next level. Uh, and we're really lucky and blessed to be born in a country like this that we have it in hand. All the different guys from the Western world come to India to learn all of this, and we have been fortunate that we are born in this country. So that one thing, obviously, back then they told me learn the tabla.
Hmm.
What I eventually realized is, okay, I don't need to learn the tabla or I don't need to learn the mridangam,
Hmm.
but I just need to learn the system,
Hmm.
the Indian classical system, Indian rhythm system.
Hmm.
So that has been one of the best advices I've got, and it is really working.
Wow.
This is probably, the best advice I've got.
That's a very interesting and important point that you mentioned.
Yeah, man, totally, totally. It really didn't hit me. I mean, obviously, as a kid, it never appealed that way.
Correct.
But much later, when I, started learning from Siddhar Parthasarathi and Tawfiq sir, the way I saw music and the way I saw rhythms, everything changed.
What do you think is the state of the music industry today, and how does the future look to you?
With the performing scene, it's getting better. Obviously, the 2 years was not very good. A lot of opportunities are coming in. A lot of artists are, newer artists coming in. So new opportunities coming in for, new musicians, and a lot of musicians are getting work that way. And it's quite a healthy competition overall.
Nice.
And I think it will bloom even more. I think what has got a little stagnant is the content that is coming in,
Mm-hmm.
because every now and then now there's only especially in the commercial scene I'm talking about,
Hmm.
every now and then there's only remixes or recreations of older songs coming in.
Yeah.
That's a little like a downside of it right now, but otherwise opportunities wise it's blooming, I would say.
Interesting. Nice. And we come to a last question, Khwab. What advice would you have for aspiring musicians?
I'm not like someone, who's very senior giving advices and stuff like that. Yeah, man, just keep your mind, keep your hearts open, be patient. This profession requires a lot of patience. There might be times you might feel frustrated or think of giving up.
Yeah.
Man, don't give up. Do what you love. Keep a lot of patience and keep the faith on. And above all, be a nice human being. everything else will fall in place.
Absolutely right. And yeah, practice a lot.
Yeah, of course. Be honest to your instrument,
Absolutely.
and being honest means you have to give your instrument a lot of time. Only then it will love you back. Simple.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, very well said, Khwab. Very well said.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
And thank you for being on the show.
I mean, I had a great time, Anand. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Khwab. I wish you the best.
You just heard A Day in Your Life, an Offspin original, created and produced by Ananth Krishnan. This show is live and available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Amazon Music, Savan, Ghana, Wink, and every other place we thought hosted podcasts. Give the Offspin team a like, maybe a subscribe on their Instagram page, and be in touch. We love hearing from you. Keep listening to content from Offspin Media Friends, and keep glistening.
The opinions expressed in this show are personal to the guests and the host and do not necessarily represent the opinions of the producer or the platform. This show does not intend to defame and denigrate any individual or organization in India or outside. The show is created for entertainment purposes only. It does not encourage smoking, drinking, or any kind of substance use. It may contain the use of harsh language that may be considered offensive, rude, or profane by the listeners. It may also contain incidents that mention or describe mental health issues, casteism, suicide, and violence. Listeners are advised to use their discretion.